Brave Maker Show is hosted by Tony Gaffestone and Christina Jackson. Thanks for tuning in. It's showtime.
Hey, thanks for tuning in, everybody. My name is Tony Gaffestone. I'm an actor, filmmaker, and I live in Redwood City, California. I'm the founder of Brave Maker, and I love being able to talk to people from all over the world about their creative endeavors. This is episode 162 of the Brave Maker Show and podcast, and I'm always joined by my friend, my collaborator, and co-host, Miss Christina Ray Jackson.
Woohoo! Celebrating 162 episodes. That's exciting. Thank you, Tony. I'm Christina Ray Jackson, coming to you from Dublin, California. And I'm in my studio, and I'm rocking the Cruella de Vil meets the Avengers cosplay today. You can find more of that cosplay at Christina Ray Jackson on IG. And I'm an African-American woman, and I'm wearing a red necklace, a white shirt, and I'm sitting in my favorite power chair by Will.
Great. We're going to do inclusive descriptions for everybody out there. We want to be that type of community. I am a Caucasian man. My pronouns are he, him, his. I have brown hair. I'm in a faux green studio inspired by Christina's faux green studio with the word Brave Maker and pink behind me. And I'm wearing a pink V-neck, a black V-neck. I should rock a pink V-neck sometime, though.
You should.
Christina. And now I'm pink in the face. Christina, what do you got? What's your inclusive description?
I'm an African-American woman wearing black hair on one side, white on the other, very Cruella de Vil-esque. Big lashes, a red glitter lip, and I've got a faux plant background, as Tony mentioned. I've got the Brave Maker logo crawling down my microphone. And yeah, I think that'll do it. I'm rocking some green eyeshadow as well, courtesy of artist RBYN.
Yes, awesome. Well, Christina and I are here every Wednesday. So if you're following us or watching us on the YouTube channel, bravemaker.org, or on Insta or Twitter, give a retweet, share this, get people following, because today's discussion, we're having a lot of people on the show. Normally, Christina and I just start off with this one question: how are you braving your way? But we have a special guest to join us for the first 5 minutes. My friend, filmmaker, actor, model, and fiscal sponsee for her short film, The Animated Mr. Bovine, Keisha Brooks. Welcome, Keisha Brooks.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Keisha.
Hello.
Keisha, give us your quick description, visual description out there.
Woo, well, I am a Black female. I have this big lion's mane of a hairdo. It's like half braided at the top and big and wavy all around. No makeup, just lip gloss. I have bright yellow fingernails and a plain background behind me. I can't beat the green, backgrounds that Christina and Tony have. And I'm bored.
Hey, you do what you do, and it works. All right. So Keisha, let's get into this. Christina and I always start off with this question: what's one thing you're doing to move your creative goals forward? Both Christina and I are creating and making, as are you. So we want you to be a part of the conversation. I'll start by saying, this week, I decided to invest in myself with a screenwriting coach. I do a lot of this for other people. I do screenwriting workshops, but I'm like, I need to invest in myself. So I dropped a pretty penny. These things aren't cheap, right? But it's worth it. So I met with Lee Jessup, who is an LA screenwriting coach, and I bought a package of 5. And basically, she's reading my scripts, meeting with me over Zoom, giving me the hard knock life notes, the blunt, this is what you need to do, this is what's not working, this is what is working, and it's cool. So I'm looking forward to doing that again and writing some more scripts and having her speak into it. Christina, what about you?
I love that, Tony, because as you invest in yourself, you always pour into others and us with your screenwriting class. So I love to hear that. What I am doing this week is I committed to sing Part of Your World as Ariel at this year's Lafayette's 25th Wine and Art Festival. That's this Saturday. I'll be Black Ariel, which is pretty popular right now. So I'm super excited to bring that role to life this weekend. So that's how I'm braving my way. And those songs are kind of in your head. So it's like you kind of know it, but you don't. But I'm going to get those lyrics cold by Saturday. And what about you, Keisha? How are you braving your way this week?
Oh my God. This week, I'm just trekking along, just writing until like my wrist literally falls off. I have so many ideas and I have to get them on paper before I move to the next thing. And not this week, but last week, I actually went to LA and produced a short that I been working on for like a year with these two girls, friends of mine, and I finally crossed that off. So
awesome.
More to come.
Congratulations. Yes.
Yeah. Keisha, tell us about Mr. Bovine.
Moo! Oh my God, Mr. Bovine. That concept actually started, fun fact, people, in Tony's screenwriting class. I
Wow.
took a screenwriting class with Tony, and he helped me kind of develop that into what it is now. And it was just a whimsical thing I thought of. We're always, we're not like listening to animals because, barking and meowing is their way of communication and we think it's cute. I was like, well, what if an animal turned into a human and then, kind of had to go through what a human goes through as far as just living their life, trying to survive and just make that decision if they want to eat meat or, how to just get along in the society that they're new to, with all things, negative nowadays. It's the protesting, you have animal rights, you have just all kinds of things that people don't think about when we're eating meat or we're consuming any type of animal product, what's behind the scenes. And I think this story is kind of going to shed some light on that. I try to tell people, I'm telling them now, like if they start doing their homework and researching, if I made the decision to go fully vegan probably a year ago. I've been a vegan for a year, but before that I was a pescatarian. I only eat seafood. And I told myself I had to stop being a hypocrite and just go full on. So no dairy, no dairy products, no cheese, nothing animal based, because I love animals so much. And I just need them to be heard. And if only one person goes vegan, just one, we could save like 40 pounds of grain that can be delivered to, a country or someone who needs the grain for something else. 1,100 gallons of water can be saved. One animal can be saved. So there's just so much. And I think
yes, Keisha's on here preaching.
They're gonna get people, it's gonna get people curious. So
well, I love that thanks. I love that you were in our workshop, and it was so cool to see this thing come to life. And people get ready, because the ideas that you're planting today, take years sometimes. This has been quite a long journey for you, Keisha. So way to go. ST, who's ST, says, let's move this. # let's move this. I love it. That's a great way to move forward. If you want to support this short animated film, which I love it, be curious. Keisha said, be curious. Animation's a great road in. It's a non-threatening way to get involved. You can go to bravemaker.com and look at our fiscal sponsees, or in the chat if you're watching live or on the replay for the GoFundMe page /F/Mr-Bovine-Animation. Check that out. Give a penny, give 100, give 1,000. Make this short animation come to life. And you can follow Keisha. Where can they follow you on Instagram?
Tax deductible.
That's right. It's all tax deductible. Get that tax write-off from Mr. Sam. Or what's that thing called? What's it called? Not Mr. Sam. What's it
Uncle
called?
Sam.
Uncle Sam.
Uncle Sam. Oh,
there you go.
Uncle Sam, Daddy Sam, whatever. Just say it. We save that money by donating to this short film. Keisha, where can people find you on Instagram?
They can find me at my up there, Keisha M. Brooks, or you can find me and more Mr. Bovine at my production page at helping.hands.productions. And I'll put that in the chat.
Thank you so much. If you're listening this on our podcast later, this will all be in the show notes as well. Keisha, thank you so much for coming on the show. We wish you the best, and we'll keep working together. All right, much love. Bye.
Bye.
All right, let's get on with our featured guest, and I'm going to bring in Jason Fong, who's going to come in and introduce our featured guest. Jason's another co-host who's been joining the show for the third time. This is great. We are
Welcome
very
back,
excited to have him
Jason.
back. That's right.
Mhm.
Jason, tell us about our guest today.
What's happening, y'all? This is Jason, Jason Your Face. Our guest today is Giovannie Espiritu. She is an actor, an acting coach, filmmaker, writer, director, producer, all the hyphens, all the slashes. She is Filipina as well, so she's representing on all fronts, advocate of the LGBTQ community and everything. So, and for the kids and whatnot. So definitely excited to see and talk to and catch up with my friend Gio.
Giovanni.
Yeah, welcome back, Giovanni.
There she is.
For to be inclusive for people that don't see me, I have a rainbow bookshelf in the background. I am Filipina. I have a round face, and I have kind of wavy, kind of bedhead hair, and I have a puppet above me. I don't know if you see that. A guitar and a pug with a plant in it in the background. So somewhere there. I don't know.
Getting detailed, Giovanni. Like I
know.
have to give my face shape now too. Like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
now I'm getting self-conscious of my very oval shape. But this is good. Thank you for leveling us up.
I feel like it's important because I have like a regular, I know this sounds weird. I have like a regular Asian face. Like I'm considered in the industry a real person. You know what I mean? I'm not like considered a people have described me on the pretty side of ugly.
What?
What?
No.
This industry, man, I tell you.
Yeah, this industry's great. So I put out there for all the round face Asians to give them hope that, because we have really beautiful Asians like Gemma Chan out there, and I'm just a regular looking one. So
We could do a whole podcast about body image in Hollywood.
Yes.
It's so messed up. The things that people say. I just heard a podcast where Ethan Hawke was in, a bathroom after a studio screening of his film, and some executives were at the urinal saying, yeah, he's never going to be anything. He doesn't have the look. He doesn't have a leading man look. And he's like shriveling in the bathroom. And this is a guy that, that we would esteem as somebody who hasn't had those issues. Like every single person has been put in a freaking box, and I hate that.
Yeah, and we're here to change that, right? We're here to
We
change.
are, yes.
Right.
The four of us are here to shatter those stereotypes and
Yeah.
break in some new beauty standards. And Giovanni is very beautiful, and you have joined us before, but we would love to hear again your origin story. Where were you born and raised, and how has your journey uniquely prepared you for the work you're doing today?
That is a very, very long story. I don't think that we got into it when we were first here, but my origin story, I was born in the Philippines in a very small, poor area called Tondo, Manila. I was born to a teenage mom, and I came here undocumented to the United States when I was 2. So I don't remember like how I came over here. I didn't even know that I was undocumented until maybe 4th grade, when I was like 10-ish, when I found out that the name that I had been going by the whole time was not my real name, and my real name was Giovanni. And then I guess filmmaking was my origin story. So I was in a cult, long story. And
Get into it.
So when my mom was young, so a lot of the choices that she made weren't exactly like the best choices, So my stepfather was abusive in a lot of different ways. I went to go live with my grandparents, and my mom chose him over me at that time. And so when I went to go live with my grandparents, my grandfather got sick. They were like my stability. And so when he got sick, my whole world kind of got thrown. And my mom moved us to the Philippines, and I ended up getting involved with a biblical doomsday cult. And it never starts out like that. It always starts out like, yay, youth group, yay, people that want to make the world better. And I needed something to cling to. So that became my family for a while. And I joined that. I started working for the Brethren in the United States. And it just got more and more abusive. I ended up having a kid who I love and adore and would do it all over again, everything, because of my kid. But when things started getting even more dark and abusive because of him, I left. And that was like a huge process of like leaving. And the weird way that I got into the industry is that in this cabin in the woods where we were prepping for doomsday, I used to try to keep telemarketers on the phone for a long time because they were the only people that I would talk to. And so one of them was like, you have a very interesting voice. You should get into voiceovers. So at that point in time, I looked up the thing, this is like at the beginning of the interwebs, you guys, like with the, like that dial-up thing. Yeah. And when I looked up voiceovers, the thing that came up in my area was Stars, the agency. And so I sent a really ridiculous tape to them. They ended up calling me in. I drove 4 hours from Grizzly Flats. I shouldn't say me, my ex did, because I wasn't allowed to drive, really. From Grizzly Flats to San Francisco, I auditioned for them. They signed me that day. They sent me on a video game audition, and I booked up.
Wow.
And I was like, it's a sign from God, because one thing I forgot to tell you guys is that my ex quit his job because he believed that the Lord was coming soon. So like I had a kid and I didn't know what I was doing. And so like I was like, okay, this is a sign from God. So he allowed me to do voiceovers. So it was more money than I had ever made for 2 hours of work. And so he allowed me to continue doing that. Eventually, my agent at Stars was like, we want to send you into the on-camera thing. So they recommended me to an acting class where I met Jason.
What?
Yeah. And during that acting class, like I was a very different person back then. Like I was very shy. And it was only in that class where, like if I wasn't downstairs when the class ended so that I can get in the car, he would get really angry. And I didn't realize at that time that was so like unheard of, or that it was not normal. I thought it was just normal, So somebody in the acting class gave me a book called Free Yourself from Abusive Relationships. And then I had to hide it. And I went down that list and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in an abusive relationship. So that was like my first start out. But during this time, I was like in the acting class. It kind of saved me. I ended up getting an agent from that. And like 6 to 8 months later from getting that agent, I booked my first union role, which was ER. And that was a recurring role in ER. And part of that was my escape from this cult, from this relationship, and kind of getting into the real world. So really crazy origin story, and today,
one of the wildest we've heard.
Yeah.
And I didn't know much of this at all.
Oh, really, Jason?
I know parts of it, but like, I didn't know that was going on during
so
class.
The class that will not be named, do you remember how they had like a church on Wednesdays?
Oh yeah, I do.
So part of my, like, I don't, like, I know that it was part of my journey. I know that I needed to be there because I would have not been so accepting, especially from the cult background that I was in, because I was like, also part of it was like, oh, this person has a church on Wednesdays. This must be okay, right?
Hey, this was the acting class had a church on Wednesdays as well?
Oh yeah, Jason knows too. Like it was, but it was also like in my journey, like I know that I needed that. Like I have since, like I was one of the first that was ostracized from that group.
I wondered what happened to you. I was like,
it was
know about.
It was pretty bad. It was pretty bad because you know how deep I was in that. Like because I believed that it was from God. I believed that God had like led me to this and, brought me out of that other craziness into this, which it might be true because we're all led in like little ways. Right. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like coming out of the acting cult part of it was pretty intense too. But it was like little baby steps, being led by the universe in little baby steps. But today, I'm making films. I'm part of the PGA now. I'm doing the thing. The thing is still really hard, y'all. Like it's still really hard. It doesn't really get easier. And yesterday I signed my first deal to direct a feature. So
very nice.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, your journey.
It's been a journey. And you know, like, I don't know, Jason, do you remember when I first booked ER, how there was like a Filipino station that made a movie of that whole journey a little bit?
Vaguely, yes, vaguely.
Yeah. So my life has already been turned into a TV movie for the Philippines, like the beginning part of it. So part of like one of the things that I want to do, in addition to this thing that I, you know, just got hired to direct, is I want to do a documentary version of my story, but like from my perspective, because when the Philippines did it, it became like a telenovela and it was hilarious and great, but it was like, that's not exactly what happened.
I definitely want to see your version of it. I definitely want to
Yeah,
see
where
it.
can we see that version? And we definitely need to see your version from your perspective of what actually happened, because it has to be a brilliant story of resilience that you're sitting here with us talking about your work in the film industry, which is already tremendously challenging. So, wow, just congratulations so far.
I've been trying to track down the TV movie of it, and I can't find it because it, you know, it was way back then, 2003, 2004. We still had VHS tapes. Things weren't streaming yet, you know?
Yeah.
But my version of it, it's still like, these are just little inklings of things that I want to do. Like, the @_motherland film is where I'm going to start putting things as I do my journey of making the film. Yeah.
We are at the edge of our seat for that documentary.
That's the documentary. The feature is the Love and Karma Instagram. So that
Okay, great.
That's
so
different.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
So you're directing and you're doing the filmmaking stuff. You're in the PGA, which for listeners out there, that means Producers Guild of America. Let's talk about the acting journey, because you have all these slashes, as Jason said, and we've got a lot of actors who listen and watch and tune in, which is wild to me that you were in a cult and then you went into a acting class that was connected to a cult. Like that is, oh my gosh, that's a lot. Okay, so let's talk about this. Christina and I have wandered into the cult of acting classes, and it's actually very common that acting teachers can become cult-like, and some don't like you taking classes from other teachers because they have a method and a way. So let's talk to the actors out there. What are some signs? What are some things that make a healthy acting class? How should you be learning? What should you be running away from? Anything you want to share on
so much flack for this, but I'm just going to say it. Like, I feel like if you have an acting teacher that is also a manager, there's a big conflict of interest there. And a lot of acting schools use the management component as kind of like a carrot that they dangle in front of people. So I would say just beware of that. There are definitely some teachers that have gotten their students work, and I've been, you know, on that receiving end where, well, it was more about like the workshops, honestly, on the weekends that I took, but like it is a relationship business. So I have been benefited by that, but it is definitely something to watch out for, especially when it becomes like, oh, if this acting teacher does not like you, then we're not going to get sent out on different things, you know. That's kind of like something to watch for. Don't give your power away to people. That's one of the things, like, it was a hard lesson for me to learn when I was kind of ostracized from this acting class, because I had made so many friends there, friends that I loved, friends that I adored, and that I thought had my back. And because career, it was such a high point and you didn't want to ruffle any feathers, and this particular person was very cut and dry about, like, if you like socialize with this person, you are no longer one of my people. That was really hard for me to see, you know, and to like go through. But also, don't think that one person is going to hold all of the keys to your career. That's really important. So like, even with me, as it, like, when you go through things that you do not like, that kind of sets you up to like be the kind of person that you want to be, right? So during this experience with this acting teacher, I was like, I don't want to be that for my students. So I'm going to teach you how to approach agents and managers. I'm not going to be one for you. Also, I'm going to teach you how to, you know, get all your profiles, all those things. so that they look good and you don't feel like you need someone to like hold your hand there. You know what I mean? Like there's going to be different options. The universe is going to bring you different people. You don't need to like put it on that one person. Also, any abusive stuff, some people think that they can break you down to build you up. That is really, really harsh. You know, watch for that, because you do not need to be abused in a class. I don't know. Like, does that help? Jason, do you have?
Before we move on, make sure you're all on Do Not Disturb so we don't have the dinging, clickings, and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, is that what that meant? I am on Do Not Disturb. So
okay, I know you're all like high-powered talent who are in eager demand. But okay, Jason, what you got?
Correctly, so I'm good. Oh yeah, so I just wanted to say, yeah, you know, I only stayed a few sessions with that school, and I have to say that I got a gut feeling right away. But I was kind of like, you know, naive young actor who was like, oh, carrot. I did see the dangling carrot. And I was like, but this feels off. I don't know why it feels off, but I'm going to keep giving it a chance. And for sure, there was a style there that, and I hope I don't give anything away, and I'm trying not to give anything away, but there was a style there when if you did something that was maybe not particularly what was being sought after, you were told your delivery sucked. And anytime someone uses that language, I mean, look, I'm not sensitive to the point where someone can't tell me that, but in this context, as an actor, you kind of want that school, class, workshop, whatever, what have you, to be a very safe space, because we're all very open in that space. You know, in context, you know, out of context, somewhere else, you know, someone can tell me that and I'll be fine. But in an acting class, no, because we're all open. We're like almost like an open wound or an open scab. You're trying to be sensitive. So you want, you know, I mean, you're going to be open, and that kind of stuff hits you in a different way when you're in that environment. Because obviously there's part of you is a people pleaser because you're an actor, you know, you're trying to do that. and also you don't, that's not constructive. You know, you can't tell someone they suck. You have to say, well, here's how we can do this better. You know, you know, your approach is fine, but let's take it this other direction and see where it goes. If we give you A, B, and C. And at a certain point, going to this class every week, it was more of the same of, well, that didn't work. And then I was just stuck with, well, what does? Can you, you know, it was like, give me something, because I can't work on it if I don't know possible solutions to this thing. Also, for the record, I don't know too much about the Wednesday church thing because I never attended. So I don't want to try to pretend that I know about that, but I did.
Oh, I was in it. I was in it.
I knew of it.
Is this thing still in existence? Is this school still around?
I don't know if it is.
Okay.
I haven't checked in a while. It might be. But anyway, yeah. So, and then also there was a vibe from some of the other students where it was like, there was definitely a pecking order. And I felt like an outsider, you know, like probably most of the time there. And a lot of times, again, like I said, if I ever did anything good or if I ever did a good scene, it was me just shooting in the dark, trying to find my way, rather than this teacher actually, you know, helping me. I will say this, just to give credit where it's due. Overall, it did make me improve, just because it opened up blind spots that I had. As far as the creative process, as far as not the creative process, I shouldn't say that because it didn't give me that much there, but just the fact that it made me realize that I had to reach for something more, even if it didn't define what that was. I think I was going about things in the naive actor, young, you know, egotistical or ego-based actor type of world I was in at the time. I was going for whatever, you know, like surface level stuff, and that class kind of helped me see, oh, well, you got to reach a little further. Yeah. I won't tell you how to get there though, but
well, and people can't, honestly, because we are every single scene is going to be about what you bring to it, you know, like how specific you are. Like you have to bring your humanity to it. You can't put like a caricature of this character. It's got to be how you would act in those circumstances, right? And only you know what's going to turn your key in order to break that scene open. So like with acting teachers in general, it's like you're gonna be able to get tools from them, but it's really gonna be your own journey as an actor, because nobody can unlock you the way that you can for yourself. It's like it's your wishes, your wants, desires. It's your, like, how does this affect your soul? What are the details that affect your soul in this particular scene? You know.
Mhm.
Right.
So Giovanni, you to me exhibit what I feel is a deep, nuanced human being grounded in their own reality and pains and excitements, which I think I also hear you saying makes you a better storyteller as well as actor and coach. So you're coaching people as a teacher, your Hollywood Actors Workshop, right? So people,
Mhm.
is it adults as well, or is it just focused on kids?
Well, I teach all ages, but the reason why I focus on kids is honestly because a lot of adults see this face and they're like, "You don't know what you're talking about." So it was easier to market to children.
Are you
Mhm.
saying
they're-
you have people who don't believe or value you just because of the way you look young or something? Is that what's going on? Or you're
Yeah.
a woman? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Yeah, go figure that, right? In Hollywood
might
or
have
in
been the
life.
subject of a short film that you guys premiered of
That's
mine.
right. That's right. Okay,
Yeah.
so again, having to tackle those barriers, so tell us about with the Hollywood Actors Workshop, kind of what you're doing, what you're providing. And it sounds like you have established a little niche based on what you want to avoid. I started Brave Maker in the same way. I wanted to create a space for filmmakers because I had been so disappointed in other festival experiences or so let down with not getting mentored. So I created something that I needed that I thought was
Mhm.
going to benefit the world. It sounds like you've done the same thing. Talk to us about how people can access what you're doing and get that
Um,
coaching.
So one of the big things that that I believe in and that I try to, be for my students is a safe space, because feelings, they're neutral. You know what I mean? Like, they're neither good or bad. They just point you to what is important. And I was scared of, like, feeling bad feelings like anger or like jealousy or whatever. Like, those are really hard for me to access for a long time, especially coming from a religion where you're supposed to be good and polite all the time. So one, establishing that that ground, that anything that you feel, it's not a good or bad thing, it's just going to point you to what's important, and then also talking to the parents to create that space for them too, if we're dealing with children, because when you get into like audition stuff, if there's a lot of pressure on them to do well in an audition, to book the job, it is going to kill any like life or fun or creativity. So it's for the kids and for adults, is like, you get into this business because you love the discovery and you love the working on the scenes, and it's not necessarily about booking the job or like doing good at the audition. So that's like the basis of like where we start from. And then I kind of teach them to be detectives, because in auditions, you're never going to get the full script usually, unless you're like super A-list and you're like a name, right? You usually get maybe 2 or 3 pages, and you have to do some detective work, whether, finding out the tone of the piece, what kind of show it is it drama or is it comedy? Those are all going to inform the choices that you make in the scene. And then finding out the path of the scene, which is, I think, that's teaching kids how to find the path, or teaching students how to find the path of the scene, because you're never going to end the scene the same way that you started it, and then making it super personal to you. That's kind of what I teach in like a nutshell.
I love the detective part. Giovanni, you have such an amazing background, and so you have so much to add as an acting coach. What are some things that you teach children in the industry? It could be really unforgiving, that makes them more resilient. And I think the detective part is a really beautiful place that you've started. But yeah, what are some things that you're teaching children, that even adults, I'm a newer actors that are just getting into the industry, to be more resilient, to look out for these red flags, to not be abused, and to really enjoy what they're doing? Yeah.
I mean, that's a conversation I have with parents, honestly, about their kids. With the kids, I want to keep it just as like, let's work on the scene. Let's find the fun in this scene.
Yeah.
But the red flags is usually what I teach to the parents. And then as the kids get older and they start reading more and they start submitting themselves on, more things, then we'll talk about like, if it does not feel right in your gut, you don't have to do it. Like, I'm very big on that. Like, there's so many times where, parents get into that space of like wanting to people please as well, because we think that producers and directors are so much higher than us. And then they get put into situations that they shouldn't be put in, that like you should be able to see your kids at all time, or if it's a cold set, make sure that they have like warming jackets for your kid, especially if they're going to be in shorts and a t-shirt. So that's a conversation that I have with parents. With children or with students, it's like, let's work on this piece just as a piece and see what kind of discoveries that we can make with this. What if you, and like Jason said, what if you tried this? What if you use this person as your substitute? What would that bring out? And then also like teaching them that every single moment is new. That's a big one, because you don't want to get into like these rote readings where they say lines the same way every time. Like teaching them that every single moment, every single take is a new take, and there's not really any wrong with it. It's more about like, what feels fun to you here, Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah,
I have a
like
question
that a
for
lot.
you. I have a question for you, Gio.
Mhm.
So what is one thing or more than one thing that an actor can do to really stand out in an audition, whether it's self-taped or in person?
Figure out what your secret sauce is and your point of view, and put that on everything. Put it on everything. Like if you, like for me, like my secret sauce has been like, I am a weirdo. I am like an oddball weirdo. I am awkward and cringy, and that's okay. I allow myself to be awkward and cringy. If somebody's super sarcastic and very biting and judgy, lean into it. You know what I mean? Just
I like it.
celebrate those parts of yourself that you have been, that you have been shamed for sometimes is really fun. And being okay with letting people judge you and not letting it affect you. I think that's really important.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
people
that
think
is
of you
huge.
is none of your business.
Mhm.
Still do it if it makes you happy to do it. There is joy in being like really snarky and really stupid sometimes. Like for that moment, like, and I'll tell my kids, because it's like, let's contain it in this moment, because I don't want you to be disrespectful to your parents. Like that's not what I'm here for. But for this moment, let's play with that. Like,
My goodness. Yeah.
That's good. That's good
Giovanni,
stuff.
yeah. You've been on such a challenging journey. You faced so many obstacles, but you clearly seem to have found the joy. What is bringing you the most joy in your career and your work nowadays?
It's always been my kid. It's always like, I mean, I don't know, like even the career stuff, like, yeah, it's really cool that I'm going to be directing something in Bali, like that's very awesome and very fun. But when I was taken to Bali, all I could do is like, I wish my kid was here. I wish I could have him. So, it's about, I don't know, like that brings me joy. Being at home right now brings me joy, because I'm just like in LA for a week, and being able to come back and like share like a coffee in the morning with my adult child now is kind of awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not necessarily about the career. It's about like the moments in between too. Not to say that I don't have fun like doing the stuff that I do. It's really awesome and fun, but there's also a lot more to it,
He's gotten so big.
Sorry.
Your son has gotten so big. I remember when he was a little kid. So
I used to bring him to class.
Wow.
Everybody to watch him, So yeah.
He's tall too, right? Isn't he pretty tall now?
6'2" now.
Yeah, well, that's.
Is he in the industry? Does your son also work in film? No, you're like, no,
And that's
okay.
totally fine with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm good with that. Yeah.
So Giovanni, your film Love and Karma, you can find Love and Karma movie on Instagram. You're going to be directing it. You're going to be casting some lead roles. So everybody should follow Love and Karma movie on Instagram, or with Giovannie Espiritu, who is the director of that film. You've never directed a feature film before. You've done a bunch of shorts. What are you looking forward to? What are you nervous about? How are you planning? Let's kind of end our conversation about your director space here.
Woo! Yeah, this is going to be a very big undertaking, bigger than I've ever done before. I'm going to treat it like a whole bunch of different shorts, because really that's what it is. It's different scenes that we put together and not consolidate. That's not the right word, but and the fact that it's going to be in 3 different countries is pretty huge.
Yeah.
I'm going to be okay with asking for help. My biggest strength is with the performances and knowing what I want emotionally from the actors, and I'm pretty good at casting too. So it's good. The castings are going to go out this week on the breakdown, so they can look at that. So that's my strength. The things that I don't necessarily know, like for example, like shot composition or things like that, I'm gonna pick the best person for that. Like I'm gonna like I already
DP,
have
baby.
DPs. Yeah, I have DPs that are already like in mind and we're in negotiations with. Like I'm gonna hire like people that know more than I do. Like my
Yeah.
line producers are gonna be amazing. My first AD is gonna keep me like this. And also being okay for asking for help. I think is gonna be really huge for this movie.
That's
Ask
huge
for
for
help.
life. Be okay
That's
with
right.
asking for help. Yes, I love that.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I'm going to email you all the things that I learned from making my first film, all the things I'll do different on my second film. To
I would love that.
Give you
Thank
some
you.
encouragement. Well, Giovannie, thank you so much for being on episode 162 with us. We're not letting you go yet. We still have one more segment. If you're watching us live, feel free to put comments or questions if you have any final things you want Giovannie to ask. If you are listening on the replay, whether it's on our YouTube page or on our podcast, make sure you go and follow Giovannie and follow her film. We always appreciate when Brave Makers let people know that you heard and support. That's a big thing for us. How can we support each other and the fellow indie careers that we're all going after? But we're going to end with our favorite things of the week.
Brave Faves. TV shows, films, books, songs, technology, clothing, podcast, food, and more. These are a few of our favorite people, places, and things. Brave Faves.
All right, my brave fave for the week is the live action remake of Disney's Pinocchio. It is so stunning and so beautiful. Tom Hanks and Cynthia Erivo really shine. No spoilers, but you definitely got to check this movie out with the kids. It is beautiful. Well, what about you, Tony?
I am super inspired by Cheryl Lee Ralph, y'all. I think I faved Abbott Elementary, I don't know, maybe 2 months ago. And that is the ABC mockumentary about a struggling elementary school in Philadelphia. And I watched the Emmys the other night. And Cheryl Lee Ralph is an actor on Abbott Elementary, and she's in her 60s. She's been around for quite some time on a ton of different shows and theater and films. And she won Best Supporting Actor on the Emmys the other night. And she got up and she sang this really cool little spiritual song, and then just went off on how important it is to have people in your life to support you. And people rose to their feet because she was so inspiring. And people, we all know what it feels like to wait, for that moment, to feel like you haven't been seen. So if you did not watch the Emmys, go check out Cheryl Lee Ralph's inspirational Emmy speech. It was so great, and I wholeheartedly love it. Jason, what was your brave fave for the week?
Awesome. My brave fave is the live action Disney trailer for The Little Mermaid. Halle Bailey. I had to say that slowly so I didn't mix it up with another person's name. Her voice is phenomenal. And I will say this, the worst part of this trailer, now hang in there with me, the worst part of this trailer is that we all have to wait till 2023
I know.
to see the movie.
Till May.
Yes, May. That is a long way away. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Look at her. But like, more importantly, go listen to her. I mean, amazing.
Mermaids can be black, everybody. Mermaids can be black.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. And if you have anything bad to say about it, cry on your VHS copy of the cartoon, The Little Mermaid. All right.
Oh my
Just
gosh.
wipe your tears on the carton of the VHS tape.
Oh,
I'm just saying.
gosh, that's a good one. Cool. Giovanni, what about you?
Well, Jason actually took mine, but one of my faves is, Quinta Brunson holding her Emmy in front of Jimmy Kimmel's face after.
I second that. Yes.
Yeah, but particularly in front of Jimmy Kimmel's face, because I feel like so much of the time we've been socialized to like just be polite and swallow it, and that was just like a very nice like not taking it,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
She handled that very gracefully.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's been a bunch of online discussion about the fact that Quinta Brunson wins the Emmy for her show that she created, and then she has to stand over and kind of around Jimmy Kimmel as he was doing this little bit because he was dragged out there by Will Arnett. And I agree, that was a bad move. It just felt like I felt it in my bones as it was happening. I'm like, not a good look. And
Yeah.
supposedly they were hanging out afterwards, and Quinta made a statement like she wasn't too bothered by it, but it still felt like, I don't know, come on, dude, don't do that. Don't take someone else's spotlight. It's just not.
And she gave him a very graceful entry to exit. You know what I mean? Like she said something like, "Oh, I won. You can leave now." And then he just, and so it's like later on when she did that little silent holding up her Emmy in front of his face, I thought it was like, yeah, just check him.
Yeah. Kind of class clown behavior there,
Yeah.
There's
Not
so
a good
many
look.
things. Yeah, there's so many things that like are just in, the conversations around our industry that I think are so important. It's so important to being human that you go, we can just do better. It's always like just do better, and then apologize, be humble, move on, and don't take don't steal other people's thunder. Oh my gosh. Well, anyways, this is good. You all, thank you so much for your time. Don't go away. I want to say thank you to everybody who's watching and listening. Every week we've been doing this 162 episodes. I love it. Whether it's like, 5 people or 500 people that are watching or listening, it makes a difference for me. Even I was sitting here, Adrienne DeSantis, who's our new board member. She's an actor. She did her first acting class last night, and she chimed in about the comment about being detectives. This is why we do it. We want to inspire you all. We want to hopefully encourage you to keep going after your dreams. That's why I started this nonprofit, is to elevate brave stories for justice, diversity, and inclusion. We want to educate. We want to entertain. We want to create community experiences. And if you believe in this work, then I invite you to support us, to become a donor. We have 26 people who support Brave Maker as an organization every month, and you can give by texting the word Brave Maker to 44321. Just put it right into your phone, into a little text bubble, text the word Brave Maker, and then the number is 44321. Send it off, and you'll get a link, and you can become a donor. And you also should know we're having our huge 2nd anniversary Halloween gala fundraiser. I don't know why I said gala. Party. It's a party. Halloween party at the San Mateo History Museum in Redwood City on Friday, October 28th. We are leveling up. It's going to be really great. We're going to have a whole screening room for horrors, shorts, and thrillers. We have a DJ, open bar, costume contest, all sorts of fun things. Great way for you to meet other fellow creative people in the Bay Area. And if you are a lover of the arts, come and meet us and support us. Bring your company, do an event, hang out with us in the heart of Redwood City. We're really excited to do that. Christina, who do we got coming on next week?
We have the amazing Julie Dove from Bird Girl. If you have not checked out this hilarious, wonderful animation, head over to YouTube, type in Bird Girl, check out. I think there's some episodes on there. There's definitely a trailer. It's a phenomenal show, and we will have Julie Dove along with us for next week. And we also need to thank our amazing live show producer, Amy Cohen, out of Austin, Texas. Let's thank Barnell Amos and Carrie Alley out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Barnell is our podcast editor, and Carrie is our wonderful social media manager. We could not do the show without you. And yes, the show is phenomenal. It's about superheroes, so it's right up our alley, Tony. So yeah, join us next Wednesday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'll be joined by Julie Dove from Bird Girl.
So cool. We have some cool people on the show, like Jason and Giovanni. One last time, tell everybody where they can find you all, Giovanni.
You can find me at GeoSpirit and then the number 2 on Instagram, or GiovanniEspiritu.com.
Jason, how about you?
Basically at Jason Your Face in most places. So yeah.
Jason, Y-E-R, Jason, Your
right.
Face. I love
Jason
it.
Your Face.
Yeah.
I love it. And I'm Tony Gavasone on all the socials. You can find me there. Christina.
I'm Christina Ray Jackson on IG. Yeah, you can go to my website, ChristinaJackson.com, and check out that cosplay at KRay Cosplay on Instagram.
Nice.
Awesome. Thanks, y'all, Jason and Gio. Don't go away because we want to take a photo with you, but we appreciate you. And y'all, these are people, access them, message them, DM them, learn from them, follow them. And you never know, 5-10 years from now, you might be working with them. That's the cool part of what we get to do. I love it. So, hey, thanks, everybody. Brave stories change the world.
You are the story. Bye, everybody.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at bravemaker.org. Like, subscribe, and share. To become a monthly donor, text the word BraveMaker to 44321 or go to bravemaker.com/donate. Thanks for tuning in.